Hey friends, it's Mrs. Walker. For today's lesson, we're going to continue talking about adding numbers. So our learning goal for today says, I can use manipulatives and make drawings on a place value chart to help me add numbers vertically. So let's see the materials that you'll need for today's lesson. You'll need a dry erase board, place value chart, and place value discs. If you don't have a place value chart, you can draw one. And if you don't have your place value discs, you can draw those too. So make sure you have your materials before we get started. All right, friends, let's take a look at our first problem. So we have 427 plus 385. Let's solve this problem mentally. Where do we start? Let's think for a minute. Where can we start if I want to try and solve this problem mentally? Remember, mentally means in my head. So how can I do that in my head? We can add the hundreds, then the tens, and then the ones. So let's see how we can do that. So if I look at 427, I see that there's 400, right? And if I look at 385, I see there's 300. So I can add my hundreds together. So 400 plus 300. Well, that's pretty easy to do in my head, right? So I would have 400 plus 300 equals 700. Then I look at my tens. Well, I have two tens, that's 20. And then I have 8 tens, well, that's 80. So 20 plus 80, I could do that pretty easily too. I can even flip-flop those numbers to make it even easier to add of 80 plus 20. So 80, 90, 100. Okay, then I move to my ones place. Well, I have 7 plus 5. Well, I can do 7 plus 5, that's 12. So now I need to take these numbers that I just solved for, and I have to add those together. So 700 plus 100 plus 12. Well, I can look pretty easily and say 700 plus 100 is 800. Well, then I just have to add 12, so it's 812. Okay, so 427 plus 385 equals 812. Now, one thing I want you guys to kind of note on for this strategy, like when you're going to solve it mentally, you might want to think to yourself, I don't have to maybe write out all of those steps like Mrs. Walker did. I wrote those out to model for you how to think about it mentally. So if you can look at those numbers and say 400 plus 300 in your head when you look at those numbers of 427 and 385, maybe you might just jot down on your paper 700. And then you look at your tens and say 20 plus 80, and you might just jot down that 100 really quick. And then 7 plus 5 is 12, so you can jot down the 12. So you could be doing the same strategy that I'm using. You might just not write all of the steps out. But if you need to write the steps out, that's okay too. Okay? All right, friends, let's take a look at this problem. 427 plus 385. Oh, that looks familiar, right? We just solved this problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve this using place value discs and the vertical form. So we've been having lots of practice with this. So if you don't have place value discs, you can just do a quick draw for it, okay? But you guys are going to pause the video, solve this problem using vertical form and your place value discs, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, here we go. Okay, so here's my place value chart. Here's my problem. I rewrote it vertically, right? Because we're using the vertical form. So I'm going to model 427. 4 hundreds, 2 tens, 7 ones. Then I have to model 385, which is 3 hundreds, 8 tens, and 5 ones. I know that when I'm starting with my vertical form, I need to start adding in the ones place. Please don't start adding in the hundreds place. When you're using vertical form, the ones place is the way to go, okay? And that's the where to start. So if I look there, I can see, there's more than 10. So I'm going to bundle 10 ones and make that a 10. Now I'm going to write 2 down here on my below my place value chart to remember that I have 2 ones left over. Okay, so I could check my work as I'm going along with my vertical form. Well, I know that I have 2 ones left and I made a new 10, so I need to model that on my vertical form. Now I can go to my tens place. Well, I'm going to have more than 10 tens, so I need to bundle 10 tens and turn that into 100. So now I'm left with 110. Now I can model that in my vertical form by writing one 10 that's left over, and my new 100 that I made. Now I can move to my hundreds place. Well, I don't have more than 10 hundreds, so I can just count how many I have. So 4 plus 3 is 7, plus the new 100 that I made is 8. So I can write that in my vertical form as well. Now, one of the helpful tips for writing the numbers underneath the place value chart is to make sure that it matches to my vertical form. Sometimes we might make a little mistake in our vertical form, but if we're counting on our place value chart and writing underneath how many we have, we can easily double check it. Okay, so 427 plus 385 equals 812. So we got the same way whether we use the mental math or whether we use our place value chart or our vertical form. Okay, so all of those strategies lead up to giving us the same sum or the same total. All right, let's take a look at another one. 672 plus 249. So you're going to solve using any strategy you'd like. Okay, so pause the video, solve if you want to use the arrow way, the vertical form, if you want to use a number bond, if you want to use mental math, any strategy you would like, go ahead and pause the video, solve it, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. So I know we've been doing a lot of work with the place value chart in the vertical form. So I'm going to show you how I solved it using the place value chart and vertical form. So the first step is we have to model both numbers because we're adding. So in 672, there's 6 hundreds, 7 tens, and 2 ones. And again, friends, notice how I'm lining up my numbers and my place value discs nice and neat. They're in rows of 5, so once I have 5 in a row, I go to the next row to line them up. It's like we're making a tens frame, so I don't have to count the first row every time. I know that if I go to the second row, the first row is automatically filled with 5. So when I'm counting here, I just have to go 5, 6, 7, 7 tens. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're drawing. You want to keep your drawings nice and neat and organized so it's helpful for you. Now we know we can start in the, we have to model 249 first. I almost forgot that step. My goodness. All right, so 2 hundreds, 4 tens, and 9 ones in 249. As always, we start in the ones place, and I see that I'm going to have more than 10 ones. So I'm going to bundle 10 ones and make a new 10. So I have 1 1 that's left over. Now to model that in my vertical form, I'll have my 1 10 or my 1 1 that's left over and the new 10 that I just made. Now I can move to my tens place. I see that there's more than 10 tens there too. So I'm going to bundle 10 tens and make a new 100 because 10 tens equals 100. And then I have 2 tens left over. Then I'm going to hop back to my vertical form and I have 2 tens and the new 100 that I made. Okay, then I go to my hundreds and I add those. Oh, I don't have more than 10 hundreds there, so I can just add. So 6 hundreds plus 2 hundreds equals 8 hundreds, plus that new 100 that I made is 900. So I just put that in my vertical form as well. So 672 plus 249 equals 921. All right, friends, nice work today. You guys did an awesome job using manipulatives and drawings on the place value chart to help you add vertically. Great job. So please head back on over to the module to see what you need to complete for your independent practice. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends.